Hey guys, TDG Flammenwerfer here, also known as the Double Glock. Now, this is going to be my first real video, if you want to call it that, since my little introduction video. Now, I was supposed to get my capture card slash HD PVR, whatever it's supposed to be called, but it didn't come in today because UPS is a bitch. So that's probably going to come in on Tuesday. I was going to record some Medal of Honor Warfighter beta gameplay, but that's not going to happen until at least Tuesday. So yeah, if you can read the title, you can obviously see that this is just explain the origins of the zombies storyline. That is, now everything that I'm going to tell you has been found via Easter eggs in all maps across the board, except maybe not Nocturne Toten, but again, there could be stuff we haven't found there. Now, before I start this, I'd like to give a big thank you to the Call of Duty Wiki and to the Call of Duty Zombies community. Everyone, you've all found this information, and without this, I wouldn't be able to really make this video. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, now the story begins with Dr. Ludwig Maxis. He was a Nazi scientist who was the leader of a team called Group 935. Now, they were responsible with creating an army of super soldiers and new technology for the Nazi project named Der Riese, or the Giant. Now, in these experiments that Maxis did, he used a certain element known as Element 115, or 115, to create the zombies. However, they couldn't be controlled and would always be forced to be killed when they went haywire. Meanwhile, Dr. Edward Richthofen, Maxis's right-hand man, if you would, was doing his own experiments using the 115 to test living subjects to create super soldiers at a Siberian facility, which turned out to be the area where Call of the Dead takes place. Now, Richthofen used a total of 4 people in his experiments, them being Takio, Nikolai, an unknown Mexican who later died, and eventually Take Dempsey, who was captured when he went to spy on an asylum with his Marine recon team. Now, they were supposed to rescue a certain Peter McCain, who was an OSS spy sent to infiltrate the Group 935. Now, Richthofen knew that Peter was a spy, and subsequently killed the team, along with Harvey Yena, another spy working to slip into the group. Now, anyway, the testing that Richthofen performed on the subjects greatly affected their minds, making Tank extremely aggressive, silencing Takio into only reciting Japanese proverbs, and making Nikolai functionless without vodka. It also erased their recent memories, causing them to forget who Richthofen was, how he captured them, and ultimately what he did to them. Now, let's go back over to Maxis. Now, the Nazi doctor also invented 115-powered teleporters, but they would always destroy anything that was sent through them. Now, all of these experiments were done with his assistant Richthofen. Now, without Maxis, Richthofen, and a certain Dr. Schuster, now more on him later, would complete the first successful teleportation using a walnut and an itty-bitty amount of 115. Now, upon finding this out, Maxis told off Richthofen, scolding him for not working on his real project, and also stating that teleporting a walnut wasn't even a big deal, so he was just trying to save face with that. Now, Maxis then told Richthofen that he was going to make a deal with the Nazi Party for money and equipment in exchange for superweapons. Now, these new superweapons that Group 935 created were also powered by Element 115. Maxis had already created the ray gun based on plans received from Shinonuma, aka the Rising Sun facility. However, Richthofen would go on to create many more and more powerful weapons ultimately. For example, the Monkey Bomb, the Wunderwaffe DG2, and the QED, which he affectionately calls the Richthofen device. Now, Maxis saw great value in the Wunderwaffe and promised to mass-produce the DG2 to his superiors, but his growing infatuation, his feelings for his secretary Sophia, slowed his progress, and angered Richthofen, who was secretly plotting to overthrow him and take control of the Group 935 for himself. Richtofen continued his teleporter tests with Schuster behind Maxis's back. Richtofen was the first human test subject, and he was first sent to the MPD, the big black pyramid on the moon, which he believed to be of alien origin. When he touched it, he felt static and started hearing whispering. He was then teleported to a jungle. Which jungle? Shangri-La. Now, Dr. Schuster got worried and planned to scrap the teleporter when Richtofen had been gone for a few days, but he returned as Schuster was talking about it and told him that there had to be work to be done. Now, Richtofen sounded pretty hectic and crazy, and Schuster noticed this change. Now, two Group 935 scientists, Dr. Grove and the aforementioned Dr. Schuster, were stationed at the moon base named Griffin Station and were trying to figure out how to work the MPD. Again, the big black teleporter. The big black pyramid. Now, when Schuster killed a rat, its soul was absorbed by a glass vial protruding from the machine. The pair then proceeded to kill many people on the moon base, until the device was filled with souls. The bodies were buried on the moon, leaving them open to the zombification that would eventually happen. Now, when they finished, they contacted Richtofen, who told them that it was finally time that he was going to get rid of the Maxises, them being Dr. Maxis and his daughter Samantha. Now, this is indicating that the two scientists were aware of what he was planning to do. Now, unbeknownst to Maxis, Richtofen had already mastered teleportation, while Maxis was still trying to master it. Now, Maxis was getting frustrated that he could not send a subject to the mainframe, and so ultimately he used his daughter Samantha's dog, Fluffy, as a teleporter test subject, but once again failed. Now, Fluffy was pregnant, and when the dog was teleported, she became zombified, and she became the first Hellhound. Now, Samantha came running in and started questioning her dad about what happened to her dog, like any other normal kid would do, and he tried to stop her and just tried to get her out of the room. Then Richtofen followed through with his betrayal by locking Maxis and his daughter Sam in the room with the Hellhound. He then activated the teleporter, which he then thought killed Samantha and her father, Dr. Ludwig Maxis. Now, Richtofen didn't know that Maxis' teleporter actually worked, and sent Samantha to the moon base. In her fear and her frenzy, she ran right into the MPD, and became the one to control the zombies. When Richtofen was informed of what had occurred, he warned the pair of scientists about Fluffy, and then told them to find a way to get to Maxis. When Maxis was found, they let him approach his daughter to calm her down. After apologizing for his actions, Maxis told Samantha to kill all of the Group 935 members for betraying him, and was subsequently shot. Samantha then proceeded to fulfill her father's request by unleashing the zombie horde. Richtofen retreated with his super soldiers, of course those being Takio, Nikolai, and Dempsey, to Shinonuma, the Rising Sun facility, to think things through. Now, when the zombies attacked, Richtofen realized that Samantha would stop at nothing to seek her revenge for, of course, the death of her father. Now, Richtofen planned to recover all of the equipment to take control of the zombies. So, first, Richtofen took the group to Derice, presumably by using the Wunderwaffe to teleport them somehow. So when they got to Derice, they relinked all the teleporters, it's all destroyed, and he ended up using the Wunderwaffe DG2 to overcharge the teleporter with its 115, making it capable of time travel. Now, Richtofen was apparently unaware of this. He didn't know it would happen, and so he seemed not really concerned, and that he and his partners had been teleported to an abandoned theater in Germany in an unknown year, but he knew that he knew what this place was. It was the theater that Maxis would unveil the teleporter to the German High Command, to show it off, say like, hey, look what I did, Look what we did. Now give us more money. Now, since Maxis was killed, the theater was abandoned, and no one got to see the wicked light show that was the teleporter.